Welcome back, friends. It's Melanie with Melanie Stamps, and I'm back today with a hot foiling video for you. We are going to be using some Heartfelt Creation dies, and I've got the simple classic oval frame here, and we are going to actually use the die to hot foil with our Spellbinders Glimmer machine. I'm going to use that inner die and then die cut using these outer frames I'm showing here. And then we're going to actually foil this inner sentiment as well. That sentiment is coming from a different greeting, which is this starry Christmas, I believe, sentiment set. It's a stamp and die set also from Heartfelt. So when hot foiling your actual dies, you do it the same way as you would a foil plate. The only difference is just the cutting portion of the die is going to foil. So you're only going to get a thin line. Your sandwich is the same. The shiny part of the foil is going to go towards the cutting part of the plate, or the die in this case. And that glue portion of your foil is going to go towards your paper. And as you can see here, we have that fine detail of the die. And now we're going to look at our options for cutting this portion out. So I'm going to cut it out with that die. And then I'm going to be looking at possibly using that Merry Christmas, and we're going to foil that Merry Christmas on the inside. So to do that, I'm going to use the hinge technique. So I'm taping this die in place, and I'm going to add my foil in the opposite direction. In other words, my die is now facing down. So my cut line, which is going to be the foil portion, is facing down. So my foil, shiny side, needs to be facing my cut line, which in this case is the foil part of the plate. So remember, the sticky part of your foil is that shiny portion. It always needs to be facing your paper, so that dull silver side of your foil always needs to be up against your paper, because that's where your adhesive is. So that adhesive part is on your paper, and your shiny side is towards your die or your plate. The actual plate of your foil plate, or in this case, your die. So now we have that foiled as well. And because I use that hinge method, it is perfectly centered where I wanted it. So I'm putting everything away here so that we can figure out how we want to complete this. Now I have left all of this portion in of all my thinking and deciding, my decision making. I've left all that in this video since I've sped this up, so that you can kind of get the idea of my thought process in this. When I was filming this, I did not have all this thought out and all this planned. So I left all this in for you guys so you could get a little feel of the designing process. So I've cut out now the blue portion, and I went ahead and cut the larger die out of the silver foil. And now I'm not liking the inner sentiment here, because you can't see, to my liking anyways, I'm not able to see the Merry Christmas very well. It's blending too much into the background. And when you foil a die, it is such a thin line. It's pretty, but it's such a thin line. It's more of an accent in my view. So for this, I thought I'm going to cut this center piece out. We need to make this center more of a focal point. So I'm going to use this inner little die, and I'm being really careful with the paper, or with the tape, because you never want your tape to touch your foil. It will actually pull your foil up from the paper. So I was very, very careful with all that tape placement. And I've cut this centerpiece out, and I've pretty much in my mind decided we need to add white to this to help this silver pop. So I'm cutting out a few white pieces just to get an idea. Okay, I've got this silver background and I need some white. I'm trying to decide which layers I want the white in. Do I want silver behind it? Do I want white behind it? So I decide to cut out this centerpiece because this is going to be covered up no matter what. So I'm going to cut out this piece rather than waste another piece of pretty silver foil. I'm going to cut this piece out of the middle. I'm also going to cut out some white. And we're just going to have a play with the different placements of all of this and get a feel for what these layers are going to look like. And see which makes that blue sentiment in the middle pop more. And I really felt like the white was going to make it pop more. So I'm cutting out, I believe, the white border. And that's the one I'm liking more at this point. But I also need a white background for that back blue piece as well. I really like those dainty outer edges of that background piece, and I want to add white to it, so I'm going to cut a piece of that as well, unless I've already done it. I think I still have to do that one. Yeah, so I'm going to cut this one now, and then we will layer these together. I wanted to, while I'm doing this, I wanted to invite everyone over to my new Heartfelt Facebook group. It's called Heartfelt Card Making with Spellbinders and More. It's kind of a collaboration to help me kind of keep in touch with all of my heartfelt friends, but also intermingle other products with our heartfelt products. Like today I'm using the Spellbinders hot foil machine and foils with my Heartfelt Creation project. You know, with Heartfelt Creations closing, a lot of us are kind of saddened by this. I know as of the end of the month, the design team is at the end of our term. We will no longer be design team as of July 31st, and we're all kind of saddened by that. But, you know, life moves on and moves forward, and a lot of us are moving on with new teams, and our future is going to move forward just like everybody else's. And we've made wonderful friends with Heartfelt Creations, and it's been like family. And so we want to stick together and to do that and continue working forward with our groups and with our work in the field. I started this group called Heartfelt Cards with Spellbinders and More as I'm moving forward with the Spellbinders company. And all cards and mix of products are welcome. So bring your heartfelt projects over. Mingle them with other products in your stash if you would like, and come play with us. You're all welcome to join. The link will be in the description below. So what I'm doing here is I've cut that piece in half, and this is to stretch it side to side so that I have a white border on either side. I like doing this so it's not just offset on one side, but I get a little border on both sides. And that really helps that silver pop a little bit. I'm also going to pop this piece up. I'm using these dimensional foam pieces. And if you have not gotten these from the Heartfelt Creation store, check and see if these are still in stock. They are a little extra dimensional than the majority of foam dots. They're like extra thick. And I need to go over there and check and see if they're available myself, because I really like how thick these are. So sometimes you need more thickness, and these have that extra punch to them. So in this case, I really want that sentiment in the center to pop. This is not going to be a super fancy card. And I want that sentiment to pop up. So check these out in the store if they are still available. I'm going to now hook this onto that silver background piece. And then we're going to take a look at it. And I think I'm going to do a little more to this card because I'm still not quite happy with that sentiment. So we're going to step this up just a little bit more. I do feel like it's kind of got a masculine feel to it, but we're going to take it a step farther. So I have gotten out some archival inks. This is Night Sky and Periwinkle, and there's my little test that I did on some paper. I always test my inks on paper before I start. That goes for my flower making too. And I'm going to use my Misty here, and I'm going to use some sponge daubers with the darker ink. And I'm going to do like a two-tone sentiment here. And I'm going to first, this is mostly the periwinkle in this first stamping. And I went around just the edges with the Night Sky. Now I'm stamping it up again with the light periwinkle. And then I'm going to just stamp that down just to give it a more solid image. These ink pads, I think I need a little more ink in them. I need to start getting some re-inkers for these guys. But now I'm going to go over just the tops of the letters. I'm going to give this a two-tone effect. I want to really get lights and dark blues going on here. So I'm going to do this a couple times really to get a nice gradient in my sentiment. And I really like the way this is starting to look now at this point. So I want it to go a little bit darker. I like the contrast happening here. And I'm just using one of the triangle daubers. So if you don't have these Stack and Store daubers, they are a Heartfelt must-have. So definitely check the store and see if they still have them remaining. Remember, once the stock is out, the stock is out. So if you're not aware, Heartfelt Creations is going to be closing around the end of the year. So make sure you get your shopping list filled, your carts filled and checked out as soon as possible. And watch for sales. I'm sure there's going to be lots of sales between now and then, so make sure you are watching for your sales. So I've die cut that out, and check this out. This makes the world of difference. And one thing I was pleasantly surprised with doing this, because this is actually the first time I have foiled with die cuts. And the foiling actually still shows around these letters when I put this on the card. So even though this is the same die that cut this paper and that foiled those letters, this still shows a slight silver foiling around the letters. It is so delicate and so pretty. It is just, you guys got to try this. I know a lot of you probably already have a foil machine at home. It does not matter if it's this machine that I'm using, which is the Glimmer from Spellbinders, or if you have a different Glimmer machine, a hot foil machine. You can do this with your hot foil machine if it's the Gemini one or one of the other hot foil systems. You could still do this on your hot foil machine. But check out the way this looks. It is really, really neat. So I was really pleased with the way this turned out. So you can still see that little silver outline all the way around there. It just turned out so sweet. It's still very masculine, and I love the two-tone. It really did look neat. Now see, I've made a 5x7 card base. So we're going to attach this card to a 5x7, and this large background die in this set is just at 5x7. So a 5x7 is perfect for this to go on. I was going to make a shaped card, but with the way the bottom of that is, I decided to go with the full 5x7. Now I pre-made these off camera, just 3 small poinsettias. I stamped them in the night sky. I colored them with my blender brush with the periwinkle, and then I did those edges with my dauber to darken those edges around before I put them in the shaping mold. Now the Christmas poinsettia and holly are the stamp and die that I used in the 3D Christmas poinsettia was the shaping mold. I did those little hollies in VersaFine Clair, opaque ink, and silver embossing. And then for that center, I used this nail art decoration, which are these tiny little micro beads. And I love the foil colors. They're metallics. They come in silver and like a rose gold and a real gold. And I've used these on my red poinsettias as well. I did not show the making of the poinsettias in this video because I have another video coming out that's a request for a friend of mine, and it is going to be showing these same poinsettias in red. So we will be making these in an upcoming video really soon. So be watching for that as well. This foiling of dies from Heartfelt was also a request in the official Facebook group. So I wanted to get this done before my term as design team member was over, because it was asked about in the group by one of you, and I wanted to make sure I answered the question before the end of my term was over. So I hope this video has helped, and I hope you guys give it a try. And if you want to join the group, I would love to have all of you over in the new group. Of course, still stick around in the official group as well, because all of your Heartfelt cards are all still welcome there as well. In my group, you'll just be able to mix the products if you feel you would like to add other products in with your Heartfelt products. As you know, as Heartfelt becomes unavailable, those will all be welcome in my group as well. So keep crafting, guys, and just know that we're all in this together. Here's the finished products. I hope y'all have enjoyed this video. See you next time. Bye-bye.